guys, welcome back to the channel. Now in this episode we're changing the air conditioning pump on Craig the Crafter, and all it was, there was a little residue. You can see that little residue and staining coming down the bottom, and I thought something's not quite right, and we've had it many a times when the belts jumped off and snapped and worn out. In fact, you can see some of the, is that picking up some of the debris of the belt around there? So anyway, we thought something's got to be up with that pump, and it leaks as well. It leaks aircon. Couldn't figure out where it was leaking from. Topped it up many a times. I did think maybe it's the evaporator behind the dash. It still might be. It might have a couple of leaks, but every time I topped it up there was a staining down the bottom of this. Now it doesn't show up with my UV dye, even though I put UV dye in it. It didn't show up that there was a leak. But anyway, I took this off because I'd ordered another one, which I'll show you in a second. But when I got this off, can you hear that? Something is in there, like it's fallen to bits inside. So I assume it's locked up, and that's why it keeps snapping the alternator belts. So I searched around and I couldn't find a second-hand one for much less than £200, and new you was looking at £300, £400. Genuine you was looking at £1,000. So anyway, I stretched my field, opened my field up to where I was looking, and I found one in Spain on eBay, and I found this one, and it's the superseded part number. And when you go into Volkswagen, it shows this part number as opposed to this part number. This is the slightly newer one, so this is better. When I no noise, and it turns quite nice as well, and the pulley looks quite nice. Now these are a clutchless one. They're like an internal clutch with a like a solenoid valve inside that opens the pressure. It's like it's constantly running. They don't have a clutch like the normal compressors. They're like constantly running. So anyway, I've got that off. Unfortunately I couldn't get this charged quick enough, and I just wanted to get on and do it. So I've got you guys charged up now, and I'm getting set about putting this back on. Unfortunately you've missed taking it apart, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's just the reverse of putting it back on. So I'll show you me putting it back on. Now as you can see, I've took the bumper off and grille. That's not to change the aircon pump. You don't need to take that off in order to change this pump. I'm also doing another little project which you'll see in a future video. But for this video I've took it off at the same time, and it just allowed me a little bit of room to get underneath the van to allow for my big fat belly. But anyway, I'm going to get underneath now and get fitting this. Okay, so we're underneath the van, and you got this 16mm nut here, which is your tensioner, and you turn that clockwise, and it releases that tension off the pulley, and you can just slip the belt off. Now I've also noticed that I've got a bit of a leak from the power steering pump, which I'm going to change at some point. I think it's from the power steering pump, because there's nothing else above it other than the alternator, and that isn't going to leak. So there's your two pipes. This one goes towards the back, and this one goes towards the top. So I'm going to set about now putting this all back together. The seals look okay. Now I have got an aircon seal kit. I might have a look at see if I can change them and match them up. If I can't match them up, then I shan't bother. Yeah, let's just see if I can match them up first. So I've got this Hella universal air conditioning seal kit. It's been used quite a few times, so there's not many seals left. But I'm going to see if I can match these up. might not be able to. The big one, I think that looks a bit fat for, well, oh, look at this, look. That might be just what I want for one of them. Thing is, I don't want to risk taking it off unless I know I can match it up. I've got another one there, it's quite large. It's quite large but thin. I've got some smaller ones there that might match up with my other one. The smaller one, I don't know. But I'm going to get underneath and see if I can match any of them up. You have got some of these, it's upside down. You have got this on here that tells you what part numbers they are, but I think that's just so you can reorder stock, etc. Once you get low. But I'm going to get underneath now and see what I can match up. That looks pretty good. I reckon I could match that one up. Flick the purple one out and put the green one in. I think that looks about right. Or is it too fat? It's difficult to tell, isn't it? Anyway, I'll put that one to one side. Let's see if I can match that big one. Because if I can't do the big one, I ain't going to change any of them, to be quite honest. I've got this one here, and it's too small and too fat. Now I could potentially stretch it over. What's this one here? That looks alright, doesn't it? A little bit small, but it would stretch over. It's probably about the right thickness. Let me see if I can fish these off with a little pick. See if I can do it without damaging them, and then I'll match them up. Okay, so I've got my little pick. See if I can't get underneath it and just fish it off. There we go. It don't look too bad. What happens is they flat off rather than being rounded. And that's not too bad, you know. I would have expected that to be a lot flatter. Seems okay. Okay, so there's the two seals, and they don't look too far off being the thickness. However, when you put that on there, you can tell there's quite a significant difference in diameter, and that's the biggest I've got. Potentially, could I stretch that over? I probably could, but whilst that one looks in good condition and not flatted, I'll be silly to risk it. Although, I don't know. Let me stretch this one over and see what it looks like, and I'll go from there. There, can you see that? Let me swing you around a bit. There you go. There, so I've got it stretched over now. And it looks all right. I think I'll go with it, you know. Yeah. Right, let me see if I can change this one and then go from there. Yeah, flick this one off. Sorry if I keep knocking the mic, it might make a bit of a bang. See, these are quite loose, these seals, and it might be that they've stretched. So putting them on slightly smaller might actually be doing it some good. What's this one look like? Again, it's not overly flatted. See if I can match that one up. Okay, so I think I've found one. Again, it's a little bit smaller, a bit like that the bigger one was. It's a little bit smaller, not much, just a little bit. It's fractionally thicker, and I think by the time I get it stretched on, it will stretch a bit thinner. Let's have a look. Okay, it's a nice tight fit. Still protrudes quite a bit, so it should give a good seal. And the same with that one. So what I've got some little some silicone like spray stuff. I'm going to spray it around there just so that it pushes into it a little bit more, because I've got to lift this compressor up and push these in. I'm not really looking forward to doing it, and the camera might even be in the way. So I need to make these slip in as easy as possible. Let me see what I've got. Okay, now just thought I'd catch up on this. Now you're probably wondering why I'm using Pacific O-rings and why I can't just use like a normal standard O-ring. Now a normal standard O-ring won't cope with the AC refrigerant. These ones are made from a hydrogenated nitrile or neoprene, and they withstand all the AC refrigerants, as where they don't. Hence why I'm not using standard O-ring. It has to be Pacific refrigerant capable O-rings. Now these come in many colours, normally green. Certain manufacturers like using purple, like Mercedes and Volkswagen and stuff, but I've seen them in yellows, I've seen them in pinks, I've seen them in many colours. You never see them in black. The reason you never see them in black is so they don't get confused with standard O-rings. Anyway, a little bit of advice for you. Okay, so I'm going to spray these O-rings with a bit of silicone lube. I want to try not to get any silicone up in that tube. Just want to get it around the O-ring. Sort of rub it in, wipe off the excess. And same on the other one, the bigger one. Wipe off the excess. That's it. And I'm going to start lifting up the AC pump now. Alright, now I might struggle, but I'm going to give it the best shot I can. Put the pipes in first, I think, and then I'll lift it up into place. But like I said, I know I'm going to struggle here, and you're going to watch me. Look, there's a pin in there and there's a pin in there. You see, that's showing up. So I've got a pin in here and there's a pin there. So that's why I was struggling there. I'll just pop that out. Okay. Right, I'm back. So I've popped the one out of the compressor, look, leaving the one in the pipe. Simple reason, the one that was in the compressor didn't look exactly round, and I was thinking, well, maybe that's going to struggle going in. Not that it's going to be easy anyway. Come on. Right. Sort of hold it in place while I find the bolt now. Should have got that ready, shouldn't I? Pop that one out of the way, look. I'll tighten that one up. And these ones are a T45. Now, I don't know if the older crafters are going to be a different size, but they're a T45 on 2015. Now I can't put my ratchet on because the pipe bends round. So when I undid it, I had to undo it with the spanner on the bit. So I've got to put it back together the same way. It's long-winded. Right, I'm going to cut it here, and next thing you know I'll be tightening it. Right, so just tighten it. As tight as I can. I don't know what the torque is, but it's quite a big bolt, so tighten it as best I can. That's that one. Now I'm just going to try and lift it up and get this bigger one in. They sent it with these dust caps in to stop dust and muck getting in there, so that's quite nice of them. I'll put a link to where I got it from, because they were, considering it came from Spain, it's quite speedy. It was all plus taxes and stuff though, but it was still cheaper than I could have got it for in the UK, so I'm happy with that. Right, now I can put this on the ratchet. Sorry if I'm in your way, but I've got big hands and I can't really see properly myself. Yeah. Right, so that's nice and tight. Right, so now I can lift it up into place and put my main mounting bolts, and there's 3 mounting bolts and they're quite long and they're all the same length, so you don't have to worry about what order you're putting them in. So I'll get that lifted up now. And they are on dowels, so you know you get it right as well. That's that, and then one more. I've got it started, but I'm just going to use my impact gun to tighten them up, because I can't really get to that back one very well. I will check them with a ratchet, but I think they're pretty tight. Right, and then, I don't know if that's showing up there, got this plug here which goes onto this airflow solenoid, and I think that's what sort of tells the pump to kick in and not. You know, it's not permanently running, but it just allows it to bypass. And then, yeah, that click. And then that solenoid in there will then stop it bypassing and make it go the route of out these pipes. when that's open, it just circulates throughout the pump constantly. Right, so that's on. So now I've just got to get the belt on, and then once the belt's on, I'll just double check them bolts for tightness, and then that'll be it. I think if you watch the first video of Walesby Forest Big Fake Festival, you'll see I had to do this at the side of the road, and I also did it when we came back from Whitby. So it snapped quite a few times, and I think that's because this pump's been locking up and seizing and then creating drag on the belt. That's it. I don't know if it's picking up. All over the sump. All over the sump, look. You see them bits? Well, that's bits of belt. So that belt will want changing again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just confirm it all works, get it regassed. Confirm it works, and then I'll get a new belt, or at least carry one with me. Although that belt looks in good nick, that might be residue from the old belt, I don't really know. But anyway, let me check them bolts for tightness, and then I'll just fire it up and make sure the belt runs true. Okay, so I've double checked all the pipes and the bolts, and the belt's routed right and nothing's about to jump off. I'm going to leave you underneath here and you'll get to see it fire up. So keep your fingers out, won't you? Okay, fire in the hole, mind your fingers. All looks alright. Tension is jumping around a bit, I don't know if that's picking up. You see the tension is jumping around a bit? It's actually jumping around a lot more than it's showing up on camera. I think that's something to do with the frequency of the frame rate. It don't look too bad on camera. That's probably because of the belt. So I shall get a new belt, I think. Now I just got to get it regassed and test it. Fingers crossed, because I really don't want to take that dash out for the evaporator. Okay, so that all runs okay. Now I'm just going to get it regassed, but first I've got this other task I've got to do. So tune in next time to see what that's all about. So if you like what you're seeing, please like, please subscribe, and please drop us a comment. And if you really feel like it, click that little bell icon and you'll get to see all our future videos. And on that note, we'll see you on the next one. Bye. See you later.
Now I go down by the coast. This is the place that I love the most, with my George Foreman and my beans on toast and my carefree life in a van. I sit down there.